Cancer! Woohoo! Not really, but I get a lot of questions from people asking me about my experience with leukemia and how did I know I was sick, and a lot of times it's people that are hypochondriacs that are like, oh my god, well I might have it, and whatever. I'm a hypochondriac too, so I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. My hypochondria is not nearly as bad as some people's, but I got sick very, very quickly, actually, probably within the span of like a month and a half to 2 months. And it's funny to me because I just went to go see my sister's keeper, and she actually, in the movie, had the same kind of leukemia that I had, which I was really, I mean, I know it's a movie, so it's not real, but I was curious about how they chose for the character to have that kind of a leukemia, because it's APML, and it's the most rare yet the most curable. So I found it interesting that the character was struggling for so many years with it. In any case, though, mine presented first as, I think it was probably bruises. Now, the bruises that I had on my body were not normal. Like, they were damn near black. Not purple or blue, but like almost black. And they were huge. Like, I would accidentally like bang my shin against something or whatever, and there would be a huge bruise like this big. The other thing was, okay, I went to the doctor. I woke up one morning and I couldn't breathe. Like, I could breathe, but it hurt like my rib cage and my lungs to breathe inward. And I freaked out and went to the ER in the middle of the night, and they basically told me that I had pulled a muscle because I was working at a gym at the time, so that didn't seem weird or anything. They gave me ibuprofen and sent me on my way. The next thing that happened was, what was it? I started coughing up blood, and my throat really, really hurt. And so I went to the doctor again, and they didn't take a culture sample, whatever, but they just said, oh, well, you have strep throat, and gave me antibiotics. And obviously the antibiotics didn't do a damn thing. Meanwhile, I was supposed to go on vacation, actually, to New York, and my mom took one look at me and was like, no, Risa, like, okay, I'm really pale skin-wise, but I don't know, she says that I was gray, so she was like, you're not going unless you go to the doctor and get blood work done. So I went to the doctor, got blood work. They thought that I had what the woman in Beaches died from, endocarditis, which is something different. It's like a bacterial infection in the heart and whatever. But they weren't sure, and so they sent me for blood work at a hospital. So I went to the hospital, went to the ER, and the nurse that triaged me was like, look, I don't know what you have, but whatever it is, it's going to be interesting. So also I forgot to mention, on my lips, there was like almost like a blood blister underneath. Like, it looked like I had a bloody lip, and I kept picking at it and trying to pop it, but it was so far under the surface, it was just there. I also had little pink freckles all over my arms called petechia, and those were something that were different also. So I went into the ER. They put me in my own room. They closed the door. I went outside to make a phone call, and everybody freaked. They're like, get back in your room. No one bothered to tell me that I didn't have an immune system. I didn't even know that until the next day. They just made up some excuse like, oh, there's a prisoner here, because I was at the county hospital, or the county, city hospital, general hospital, anyways, where everyone goes that has no insurance, so there's lots of like gang victims, and yeah, stuff like that. Anyway, they told me that someone there had something highly contagious and that whatever. Anyway, they lied to me. So then, what happened? They put me on the AIDS floor, because that's where you go if you don't have an immune system, I guess, which scared the hell out of me, because everyone was convinced that I had AIDS with all the MTV commercials, 1 in 5 people, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, I had a bone marrow biopsy, which is like the most excruciating thing that I have ever endured in my life. And yeah, All I can recommend is, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but if you ever have to have any kind of a procedure, ask them what they're going to do before they do it, because no one told me what it entailed. So I was not prepared, and I don't know if it would have been better if I was prepared or not, but yeah, it was pretty traumatizing. So they did my biopsy, they sent it off. I was at that hospital for like 3 days, I think, and no, 2, 3 days, and then they determined I had leukemia. And that was that. And they sent me to another hospital because they didn't treat leukemia, and then I was treated there. I had 3 doses. No. Yes. I was supposed to have 5 doses, but I had 3 because my body couldn't handle it, and yeah. Anyways, was on lots of drugs. Didn't really walk for about 2.5 weeks. All my muscles atrophied. I felt like a little old man walking down the street. I was scared. Oh my god, I was so scared. My counts came up, and then the day, like, they didn't even tell me they were gonna discharge me. They didn't give me any warning. They just kind of said, okay, guess what? You get to go home. But it's weird how dependent we become, because I was so used to, in case anything went wrong, being able to call a nurse or a doctor like within seconds or minutes for help, that yeah, I was really scared, had kind of like a breakdown before I left the hospital, because I really didn't feel like I was ready to go home. And yeah, so that's pretty much, I don't know. What else can I touch on in regards to the cancer? Of course, all the procedures sucked. They were horrible. I have a scar in my neck from my central line, which got infected. Ugh, gross. Chemo's really interesting in the sense that it makes everything taste disgusting and like metallic, and you can smell things like a million miles away, it feels like. And yeah, so I didn't really eat much because I didn't want to eat, because I can't even begin to describe the nauseous feeling that it makes you have. But yeah, they wanted me to eat anything and everything just to gain weight. So once I was out of the hospital, I got so used to, basically, when you are on chemo, you kind of have to stick with, if you are going to eat, it can't be something that's cooked, and it has to be very basic, not acidic in terms of chemically, I guess, or I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so I got used to eating like Haagen-Dazs ice cream bars and like all this great fattening crap, basically. So yeah, I was out of the hospital, and then I was back in and out and in and out, but the last 2 times that I was in weren't horrific or anything. In fact, they were really boring. I was just there just to get my chemo, and that was it. But because of that, yeah, I gained a lot of weight. I was also put on an oral chemo to help suppress everything, and that made me gain weight and made me have disgusting face sores, and yeah, so I gained a whole bunch of weight, but whatever. I'm alive, so it's okay. And yeah, my 6-year anniversary is coming up this month, so that's definitely been something that I've kind of been dealing with too. I always get kind of depressed because I'm like, damn, what the hell am I doing with my life? It's been 6 years, and what have I accomplished? Nothing. But I guess, I don't know, everyone's hard on themselves. We are our own worst critic. And yeah, it's been quite a journey. I don't know what else you guys wanted me to talk about in regards to that, but there you go. That's my story on leukemia. Bye.